Have you ever wondered how some people buy anything they want? Luxury cars, dream homes, even businesses, without ever looking stressed about the cost? Maybe you've seen stories about billionaires buying yachts or celebrities snapping up vacation homes, and you think, well, of course they're rich, they can afford it. But what if I told you the real secret isn't about having more money? It's about using money differently. The wealthy almost never pay for things the way you think they do. In fact, they've mastered a system that lets them buy what they want while their money keeps working for them. And here's the best part: you don't need millions to start using these strategies yourself. Welcome to She Invests, where we make money make sense for anyone who's ready to build real wealth, one smart move at a time. Today, I'll show you how the rich buy things without paying for them, and how you can use some of these strategies too, even if you're not a millionaire yet. Let's start with a quick thought experiment. Imagine you want to buy a $50,000 car. Most people would save up, hand over the money, and watch their bank account drop by $50,000. The car is yours, but the money is gone. That's the spend and hope approach. But the wealthy? They almost never do this. Instead, they use their money to buy assets, things that make more money, and then let those assets pay for the car. It's like sending your dollars out to work a second job, and then using their paycheck to buy what you want. Here's how it works in real life. Let's say you have $50,000. Instead of buying the car outright, you invest that money in a portfolio that earns, say, 8% a year. That's $4,000 in annual returns. You use those returns to make the car payments or even lease the car. After a few years, you still have your original $50,000 working for you, and you've enjoyed the car the whole time. The rich don't just spend money, they put it to work and let the returns pay for their lifestyle. But it gets even more interesting. The wealthy are masters at using other people's money, especially the banks. When you have assets, banks are happy to lend you money at low interest rates. So instead of selling investments to buy a house or a car, the rich borrow against their assets. Their investments keep growing, and the loan is paid off with the returns. It's like having your cake, eating it, and then getting another cake next year. Let's break this down with a real example. Imagine you own $200,000 in stocks. You want to buy a $40,000 car. Instead of selling your stocks and paying taxes on the gains, you take out a low-interest loan using your portfolio as collateral. Your stocks keep growing. You get the car. Plus, the loan's interest is often lower than what your investments earn. Over time, you end up with the car and a bigger investment account. That's how the rich stay rich. They never stop the compounding magic of their money. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds risky. What if the market crashes? And that's a fair question. The key is to never borrow more than you can comfortably pay back, and to keep a healthy cushion in your investments. The rich are careful. They use leverage, but they don't bet the farm. And you don't have to be a billionaire to use this strategy. Even with a few $1,000s, you can start thinking like an investor, not just a spender. What if, instead of fearing your next big purchase, you felt excited because you knew your investments, side hustle, or rental property could cover it? That's not just a dream for the ultra-wealthy. It's a mindset shift anyone can start right now. The first time you buy something with money you didn't have to work for, you'll realize you're not just spending. You're building a system that works for you day and night. Another secret? The rich love to buy things that pay them back. Instead of buying a vacation home just for themselves, they buy a property they can rent out when they're not using it. The rental income covers the mortgage, the property appreciates, and they get free vacations. Or they buy a business that generates cash flow and use that income to fund their lifestyle. Every purchase is an opportunity to create more wealth, not just spend it. Let's talk about taxes, because this is where the rich really play a different game. When you earn a paycheck, you pay taxes first, then spend what's left. But when you own a business or investments, you can often use pre-tax dollars to buy things or deduct expenses that regular employees can't. That means more money stays in your pocket and less goes to the IRS. It's not about cheating the system. It's about understanding the rules and using them to your advantage. Here's a story that changed the way I think about money. A friend of mine wanted to buy a new car, but instead of dipping into her savings, she bought a small vending machine business. The business cost her $10,000, but it brought in $500 a month in profit. In less than 2 years, she had enough to buy the car, and she still owned the business, which kept paying her every month. She didn't just buy a car, she bought an income stream that paid for the car, and then some. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned from watching how wealthy people operate is that they rarely ever let their money sit idle. Every dollar is given a job. It's either out there earning interest, buying a piece of a business, or helping to pay down an asset that will eventually pay them back. The rich treat their money like a team of employees, and they expect every one of them to show up and work hard. If you start thinking of your dollars this way, you'll never look at a big purchase the same again. Let's talk about real estate, because this is a classic example of how the rich buy things without ever really paying for them. Instead of saving up for years to buy a house in cash, they use a mortgage to buy the property, often putting down as little as possible. Then, if it's a rental, they let tenants pay the mortgage through rent. Over time, the property appreciates, the loan gets paid down, and the owner ends up with a valuable asset, often with very little of their own money in the deal. That's leverage in action. I know a woman named Jasmine who wanted to buy her dream home, but the price tag felt out of reach. Instead of giving up, she bought a duplex, lived in one side, and rented out the other. The rent from her tenant covered most of her mortgage. After a few years, the property had gone up in value, and she used the equity to buy a second property. Jasmine didn't just buy a home. She built a real estate portfolio that paid for itself. Another strategy the wealthy use is called the asset swap. Instead of selling investments to buy something new, they trade one asset for another. For example, they might sell a stock that's gone up in value and use the proceeds to buy a piece of land or a small business. This way, their money is always working, always compounding, and never sitting still. It's like playing chess with your finances, always thinking a few moves ahead. Have you ever noticed how the rich seem to have access to deals and opportunities that most people never hear about? That's not just luck. It's because they keep their money in motion. When you have assets, whether it's cash, stocks, or real estate, people bring you opportunities. You get invited to invest in startups, buy into partnerships, or join in on group deals. The more you put your money to work, the more doors open. Let's talk about cars again, because this is where most people fall into the spend and hope trap. The average person buys a car, makes payments for years, and ends up with a depreciating asset. The wealthy, they could lease a car through their business. They can deduct the payments as a business expense. Then, they can invest the money they would have used to buy the car outright. At the end of the lease, they upgrade, and their investments have grown the whole time. It's not about showing off. It's about keeping their money working. Here's a fun fact. Many wealthy people use something called a margin loan to access cash without selling their investments. Let's say you have $100,000 in stocks. Instead of selling and paying taxes, you borrow against your portfolio at a low interest rate. You use that money for a big purchase, an investment, or even to cover an emergency. Meanwhile, your stocks keep growing, and you only pay interest on what you borrow. It's like having a secret line of credit that grows as your wealth grows. I once met a couple who wanted to send their daughter to college without taking on student loans. Instead of saving in a regular account, they invested in a rental property when their daughter was born. The rent covered the mortgage, and by the time she graduated high school, the property had doubled in value. They sold it, paid for college, and still had money left over. They didn't just save. They let an asset pay for their daughter's education. Let's pause and think about vacations. Most people save up, spend the money, and come home with memories and maybe a little regret about the cost. The wealthy? They might buy a vacation rental, use it a few weeks a year, and rent it out the rest of the time. The rental income covers the mortgage, and the property appreciates. They get free vacations, and their net worth grows every year. That's how you turn a luxury into an investment. Another trick the rich use is business expense optimization. If they own a business, they look for ways to make purchases that serve both personal and business needs. Maybe it's a car used for client meetings, a home office, or even travel that doubles as a business trip. By structuring their spending this way, they reduce their taxable income and keep more money working for them. It's not about loopholes. It's about being intentional and strategic. Let's talk about credit cards, because this is an area where the rich play a different game. They use rewards cards to earn points, miles, or cash back on every purchase. But here's the key. They pay off the balance in full every month. No interest, no fees, just free perks. Over time, those rewards add up to free flights, hotel stays, or even cash that can be invested. It's a small thing, but it's another way to make your money work for you. Have you ever heard of infinite banking? It's a strategy where you use a whole life insurance policy as your own personal bank. You pay premiums, the cash value grows, and you can borrow against it for big purchases or investments. The interest you pay goes back into your policy, not to a bank. It's a complex strategy, but it's another example of how the wealthy use every tool available to keep their money in motion. If you want to start thinking like the rich, begin by tracking your assets and liabilities. Know exactly what you own and what you owe. Every month, update your net worth. Celebrate every increase, no matter how small. This habit alone will change the way you see money. You'll start to look for ways to grow your assets, not just your income. Before you buy anything big, ask yourself, will this purchase make me richer or poorer? If it's an asset, something that grows in value or pays you back, it's worth considering. If it's a liability, something that loses value or costs you money, think twice. The rich are always looking for ways to turn liabilities into assets, or at least to let their assets pay for their liabilities. Let's talk about partnerships. The wealthy rarely go it alone. They pool resources with friends, family, or business partners to buy bigger assets, like apartment buildings, businesses, or land. By sharing the risk and the reward, they can access opportunities that would be out of reach alone. If you have a trusted circle, consider teaming up to invest in something bigger than you could on your own. A friend of mine wanted to buy a designer handbag. Instead of charging it to her credit card, she started a small online shop selling vintage accessories. Within a year, her profits paid for the bag, and then some. She didn't just buy a luxury item. She built a business that kept paying her long after the thrill of the purchase faded. Let's not forget about education. The rich invest in learning, books, courses, mentors, because they know knowledge pays the best dividends. Before making a big purchase, they'll often spend time learning about the asset, the market, or the strategy. That way, they make smarter decisions and avoid costly mistakes. If you want to buy something big, invest in learning about it first. Here's a tip for anyone with kids. Teach them to think like investors, not just consumers. When my niece wanted a new bike, I challenged her to start a lemonade stand. She saved her profits, bought the bike, and realized she could keep earning money even after she got what she wanted. That lesson will serve her for life. Many wealthy people use their assets to fund charitable giving. They set up donor-advised funds, give appreciated stock instead of cash, or create foundations that support causes they care about. By giving from their investments, they can often give more and get tax benefits too. Generosity is a form of wealth that grows the more you share it. Have you ever noticed how the rich rarely seem to stress about emergencies? That's because they have multiple streams of income, rental properties, dividends, side businesses, that act as a safety net. If one stream dries up, the others keep flowing. You can start building your own safety net by adding just one new income stream this year, no matter how small. There's another angle the wealthy use that's often overlooked: timing. The rich are patient. They don't rush into purchases just because they can. Instead, they wait for the right opportunity. Maybe a market dip, a motivated seller, or a business that needs a partner. By waiting for the right moment, they often get what they want for less or with better terms. It's not about being cheap. It's about being strategic. The next time you're tempted to buy something big, ask yourself, is this the right time? Or can I let my money grow a little longer while I wait for a better deal? The rich don't see money as something to be spent. They see it as a tool, a resource, a way to create more options. Every dollar is a seed that can grow into something bigger. When you start thinking this way, you'll find yourself asking new questions. Instead of, can I afford this? You'll start asking, how can I get my money to afford this for me? That shift alone can change your entire financial future. Priya wanted to travel the world, and instead of saving up and quitting her job, she started a travel blog and built an audience. She partnered with brands, earned affiliate income, and used her blog profits to fund her trips. Not only did she see the world, but she built a business that kept paying her long after she came home. Priya didn't just buy plane tickets. She bought freedom, and she did it by making her money work for her. Sometimes, the best way to buy something is to create value for others first. The rich are always looking for ways to solve problems, fill gaps, or offer something unique. Maybe it's starting a service, inventing a product, or teaching a skill. The money they earn from creating value becomes the fuel for their next purchase. If you want to buy something big, ask yourself, how can I help someone else get what they want so I can get what I want too? Let's not forget about negotiation. The wealthy rarely pay full price. They negotiate everything, from real estate deals to business partnerships to everyday purchases. They know that every dollar saved is a dollar that can be invested. The next time you're making a big purchase, don't be afraid to ask for a better price, extra perks, or more favorable terms. Even a small discount can add up over time, especially if you invest the difference. Another powerful tool the rich use is insurance, not just for protection, but as a financial strategy. They insure their assets, their businesses, even their income. This way, if something goes wrong, they don't have to sell investments or go into debt. Insurance acts as a safety net, allowing their money to keep working uninterrupted. If you're building wealth, make sure you're protecting it too. Sometimes, the best way to buy peace of mind is to plan for the unexpected. Finally, remember that the journey to wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. The rich didn't build their fortunes overnight. They made smart decisions, took calculated risks, and let time do the heavy lifting. Every step you take, every dollar you invest, every asset you buy, every skill you learn, brings you closer to a life where your money works for you. So be patient, stay curious, and keep moving forward. The best time to start is now, and your future self will thank you for every smart move you make today. Let's wrap up with a challenge. This week, pick one thing you want to buy in the next year. Instead of saving up and spending the cash, brainstorm 3 ways to create an income stream that could pay for it. Maybe it's a side hustle, a small investment, or teaming up with a friend. The first time you buy something with money you didn't have to work for, you'll never want to go back. And remember, the real secret isn't about being born rich or getting lucky. It's about making your money work for you every single day. The rich aren't just spending. They're strategizing, investing, and building a life where their assets pay for their dreams. You can do the same, starting right now. So let's recap. The rich buy things without ever really paying for them by putting their money to work, using smart leverage, buying assets that pay them back, and understanding the tax game. You don't need millions to start thinking this way. Every dollar you invest is a step toward financial freedom. What's one thing you want to buy in the next year? And how could you get your money to pay for it instead of just spending it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your ideas and cheer you on. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and join the She Invests community. We're building wealth together, one smart move at a time. Your future self is already proud of you. Let's start making your money work for you, not the other way around.